Moonlight cloaks the Ozark haze, mystery in every twisted maze, whispers through the hollow.
These are pieces of the past, fragments of stories from the Ozarks.
The Battle of Yadrang Valley. A CBS News special report by Morley Safer and the CBS News team in Vietnam, with a special introduction by Walter Cronkite.
Good evening. Just 6 days ago, the people of America were jolted by an announcement. Our casualties in Vietnam in a single week had exceeded the average weekly rate of dead and wounded in the Korean War. 240 Americans killed, 470 wounded. If the American public had not known until then, they know now. The United States is indeed at war, a full-dress war against a formidable enemy. Most of these casualties were suffered in the Battle of Yadrang Valley, the biggest, the costliest, the most significant yet fought by American troops in Vietnam.
It's a funny thing, but some of these men I've known for a long time, and some of them I didn't know too well. But that's just the one thing about battle that I find strange. It's the death part seems to be unrealistic. I don't know. I mean, you know it's true, but you just don't really bring yourself to believe it. And this is just the way it is.
Do you believe it now?
I believe it, but I still think there's something in my mind that tells me it wasn't real, so I don't believe I felt the shock of it yet.
The hardest part is trying to forget the deaths of your buddies. Our company lost our whole morning platoon, 28 men. One was from Oswego, Illinois. He knew some friends of mine that went to the same university that I went to.
Is it hard for you now to believe that they're dead so quickly?
Well, when you look at them, it doesn't even resemble a human body. It looks just like a mannequin. You look at them and you say, that couldn't happen to me. It is hard to realize it. But then you walk back to their area, back at base camp. They're just not there.
Well, I tell you, it's about as close to putting it in words it was like hell. It's about as close to being to hell as you can get and come out alive. That's about the only way I can put it.
What would you say is the most hellish part of it?
Actually getting shot at and seeing the bullet hit and miss you, and seeing your buddy get it. And when you see somebody out there and you can't get to them, and you just know what they're going through, and you can't do a thing to help them.
This is the enemy. In the past few weeks, I spoke to dozens of them through interpreters. They all said they had been mobilized, drafted. They are tiny men, boys, some half-starved, some had spent months walking down to bases in the South, carrying weapons bigger than themselves. In battle, they showed almost maniacal courage, or motivation, or something.
We started out in a routine operation in the jungle, and the 25th Division got pinned down, and so they called us in to get the dead and wounded out. Well, they had dropped their rations into Charlie's lap, and then Charlie took off with them, so we was chasing them for 8 days. Trying to catch up with them. Well, they ended up in Yadrang Valley, where they had staches, I guess, caches of weapons and stuff stashed. And so they surrounded us, and Our company commander was a Green Beret, didn't know much about infantry, so instead of listening to his NCOs, he said, oh, that's them people we've been chasing for 8 days. He said, we can take them. We wanted to back off and call in artillery fire and soften up the area. And he said, no, we just go on in and take them. So we went in and with about 134, best I remember. We come out with about 30 wounded, and so we pretty well got our company wiped out. We called in for reinforcements. They were too far away and they didn't get there in time, so when they did get there, they started getting the dead and wounded out. So I was behind a stump, and it blew the stump out of the area. A mortar round come in, a Russian mortar round, and it blew my stump. We had just got resupplied, and I had a Pavin pack, and it blew it all to pieces, and beans and franks went everywhere. My steel pot went flying in the air. When it come back down, it had blood in it, so I got to checking, had an eye knocked out, got a wounded in the side of the head, and so then we finally flew out and went to the 85th Evac Hospital in Queen Yan, and I stayed there for a while, and they said, well, we can't do nothing for you, so they switched me back, and I had malaria, and I had caught malaria, and I was anyway, there's something else I had caught, but anyway, I kept getting sick, so they sent me back through channels, and I ended up Fitzsimmons General Hospital in Colorado, where they put my eye back. Started hooking nerves back together so I could see. So they operated on me there, and I stayed there for a couple of weeks. And then I got 15-day leave to go home, so to see my wife and kids before I got assigned to Fort Carson, Colorado, and that's about the end of the story that I can remember. In 1966, 3rd of August, 1966, when I got wounded. Yeah, we got in a battle in the Oasis. We worked around Pleiku and all through that area. We was, different. I can't remember all the locations we got hit. It's just different places in the jungle. They didn't really have a name, I don't guess. We had several scrapes where we just get firefights and it'd be over and we'd fly to another location. So I can't name all the places in that jungle we went, but we flew. We was a helicopter unit, so we flew all over Vietnam there. Wherever we was needed, that's where we flew to. We'd move the enemy out, and then we might go back again. We was in Happy Valley 3 or 4 times, Hydrang Valley 3 or 4 times. They kept moving back in there. They had caches, I guess, where they kept weapons and stuff. Then the Pavins, you gotta watch Pavins, they wore black uniforms. They'd be out in rice paddies working, and I might pick up a gun and shoot at you, and then drop the gun in the rice paddy. You'd never know who it was. And they used bamboo, made pongy pits, and you get your foot down there, couldn't get it back out unless it tore you up, and then they put poison on the end of them pongy stakes. So if you got wounded by a pongy stake, you just, you got poison. They probably have to take your leg off. So It was a crazy war. But I don't like to try to remember too much of it because it's been so many years and I try to forget it. So that's all I can remember. Retired as a first sergeant G8 jet. 22 years.
From the Adjutant General to Mrs. Rebecca E. Gell. The Secretary of the Army has asked me to express his deep regret that your husband, Jack E. Gell, died in Vietnam on 14 November 1965.
He told me, he said, honey, we've already heard them say that they will bury us, and if they take over one little country at a time, before you know it, all the little countries will be taken over. And eventually we would be left alone and we couldn't take them. And he said, I'd rather go now than have to wait until 20 years and have my son go, because it might be too late in 20 years. And he told me before he left, he told me to sit down, and he started talking serious, and I started to cry, and he said, don't cry because you've got to know this. He said, it's better if you know, then you won't have a total decision to make and be at a loss. I want you to know that we've spent most of our marriage in Columbus, and 2 of our 3 children have been born here. I would like to be buried here in case anything happens, and I just want to be wherever you would live.
Firing squad, hit, hut! 1 blank, cartridge, shoot! Ready! Aim! Fire! Aim! Fire! Aim! Fire! Ready! 2! Firing squad, hit, hut!
And he said the most treasured hours and weeks and months, the longest period of our marriage has been in Columbus, so I will stay here. There's places we've been together. That's all I can really say, is that I am staying here because that's what he expressed to me, and I want to be where he is. If that's what I can have, and I'm just glad he chose me for Mrs. Gell.
The funeral of Sergeant Jack Gell. They feel we are divided. They are impressed by our student demonstrations. In Hanoi, a student is a rare and honored member of society. The enemy knows he cannot, in the end, defeat us in the field. But by killing Americans, he hopes to demoralize us at home. That is what happened to France in 1954. Our armed forces are prepared to take the necessary casualties in order to seek out and destroy the enemy. The question remains, are the American people prepared to lose more and more young men in Vietnam?
Is just one of the fragments of the Ozarks, the lost stories that are out there. I would challenge you to find these stories and to bring them to life. Let them bloom back if you can. So many people over the centuries have lived and died, never to be remembered. Most did not get a stone, most did not get a marker throughout the history. And even those that did, those markers have worn away over the centuries. Find these stories. This is your challenge to the viewer, and I thank you for your time.
Whispers of the wind guide us through night. Stars above to shine, warriors in flight. In the Ozark haze, shadows come alive. Driven by the spirit, we survive. Mountains tall, hear our war cry sound. Bound by honor, never back numbers call. Each strike, a promise never to fall.